Hello, everybody. Welcome tonight. It's going to be a Just Chat session, our typical weekly Friday session. Where usually I talk about hot takes, things that are going on in our daily interwebs world and our daily lives. Today's going to be a little bit different than what I usually do. Last time I did go over some news in Japan and also some Gen Z observations and articles, which we'll probably end up touching on again today. It's interesting, like how time has changed and technology and the world has changed from when I was younger. And I think what some of the younger generation takes for granted is very interesting. We'll open with that, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the anonymous telonyms, which I can read live if anybody decides to message as I'm reading them. But I'm going to touch on a few that I think were interesting to the best of my ability and with the time that we have available. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right. So, crack this open here. Ah, yes. Good old days. Think back as far as you can. Think back to a time when things were a lot harder than they are now. Think about how much different your life was then compared to now. Right? Let's think about the internet. Right? When the internet first came out, who knows how we used to connect to the internet without reading the article? Who would know? If none of you are here right now, obviously, send a comment down below. Anytime that I ask a question and you catch the VOD later on, go ahead and hit it in the comments down below. Yeah, if you knew, or if you were around, we used to connect via the phone and we had to share usually one line in the house. And when somebody was using the internet, if you picked up the phone, you'd hear a bunch of staticky garbage. And oftentimes it would disrupt somebody's 2-hour download of a single MP3 song. Yeah, no kidding. It used to take quite a long time to download music. Even just 5 megabytes at like 56 kbps. That's kilobits per second, which is nuts. Yeah. It's amazing how times have changed now. Now in Japan, my internet download speed, I believe, is 500 megabits per second with a 400 megabits per second upstream. And with my closest server, I think the ping time is 7 milliseconds. And compared to America, my God, I remember when I left America and before I had moved here, I was only rocking like maybe 50 or 53 megabits per second, and you had to pay like 100 US dollars. It's insane. All right, going to the gas station was more of an experience. When you went, the gas station attendants would put gas in your car. I think they still do that in Oregon, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, because if I remember correctly, Oregon is a full service state where you're not allowed to gas up your own vehicle, but things might have changed. It's been a while since I've been back. Clean your windshield and check your oil. After that, you just paid them through your car window and you never had to get out of the car. Ah, yes, full service. We still have that in Japan, but I remember when I left America nearly 11 years ago, that was being done away with. So, if if they're still doing full service anywhere, feel free to let me know. All right, let's take a look here. I'm just old enough to remember smoking on planes. Yeah, like totally. Totally. You used to be able to smoke on planes for sure. Let's get rid of this person here. And Apex Reaper. Perfect. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, and you also used to be able to smoke in like restaurants and like almost all public places, on the sidewalk, at a park. Now federal laws have like slowly eroded those rights away, like if not completely, right? I think you can't even smoke in some states you can't even smoke 15 feet within a building, or um, um, in some cities you can't even smoke on a sidewalk. I think San Francisco was like that in some places. I can't remember. But anyways, yeah. Smoking on a plane used to be chill. We used to make our Christmas or birthday wish list from looking in store catalogs like Sears. You could actually order and pay for things via snail mail, and it was safe to do so. Yeah, my family kind of did that. Um, mm, Not often though. We used to just go to the department store, or just buy stuff from the store directly, or the toy store. So there used to be no security screenings at airports. Yeah, I mean, pre 9/11, that's no. I mean, that's no surprise, but yeah, it literally used to be a lot easier to board a plane. You could literally walk the person to the boarding area and watch them board the plane. Yeah, there didn't used to be security gates, so on and so forth. It used to be so easy just to get on a plane. You don't have to like sit there in front of like TSA. Like, I know if any of you, even if you're not from America, right, traveling to America, I know you guys have experienced this, right? Where you're just like, all right, you gotta stand outside, or you gotta walk through the gate. You gotta stand with your arms out. They might send you through that machine where it circles you, or you might get an extra screening afterwards in private for whatever reason. Yeah, no bueno. Whenever you wanted to download something online, you'd have to basically threaten everyone in the house with their lives. Yeah, I just talked about this too, right? Like, nowadays, like, you can download a song in like 5 seconds, right? Depending on how good your internet is. I know that some places around the world are still rocking like a little bit slow internet, and that's nobody's fault. Like, everybody has like different budgets, and like different governments and countries have their infrastructure set up a certain way. Um, but still, the world is way more connected now than it's ever been, and so much like faster and like better. My 20-year-old son liked hearing this one. When driving in unfamiliar territory, you had to get directions by either stopping at the gas station and asking an attendant, or buying a map and atlas. Yeah. Who remembers? Who remembers actually having to break out one of these lovely maps that they're holding right there, right? Or even having to like print out directions, and then you're driving, and then if you're lucky, you have a co-pilot, and they're like telling you where to turn, and they're kind of like guessing and tracking on the little piece of paper where you're supposed to be. My goodness. Yeah, that's some crazy times, man. Some crazy times. I remember. I mean, now we can just bust out our phone and we get a live feed sent to us, right? Like, you can see it happening in real time. As you're driving, you can track and locate exactly what it is you're doing and where you're going, which is fantastic. So, no more papers. All right. Seatbelts weren't taken seriously by most people until the 90s. Yeah, actually, I believe that's when most seatbelt laws started kicking in and being an actual requirement, right? I have some unfortunate stories from when I was younger, like friends and so on and so forth. Seatbelts really weren't taken that seriously, unfortunately. There were ashtrays everywhere, homes, businesses. Yeah. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing an ashtray somewhere, like just chilling. And there used to be cigarette dispensing machines, right? I don't know if some of you guys remember that. Yeah, and the ashtrays used to just be like chilling on the kitchen table or the coffee table. It's true, many times what you see in those movies, right? Like those dapper men and women that you see, like, just puffing away, and there's an ashtray just chilling where you eat. My boss blew my young coworker's mind the other day when she explained that there's a special kind of black paper that you can put between two regular pieces of paper, and when you write on the top page, it shows up on the bottom page too. Yeah, carbon copies. You probably still can get that if you've signed for a home loan or a car loan. they still typically send they still typically use those carbon copy papers for contracts and such. Drunk driving was a serious crime until a group of moms got together and advocated mad. Oh yeah, I remember that. It's Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which I think the majority of people can agree was a good step in the right direction. If you disagree, feel free to comment down below. There's a room called the coal room in the basement of our house. We'd shovel coal from that room into a coal furnace. Now, we weren't lucky enough to have something like that. That's some next level stuff right there. We used to have a furnace, but yeah, a lot of older homes and even like people from nice middle class homes had like the central heating furnace and such. I think you'll see something like that or similar to that, like in Home Alone, but I think coal furnaces were more typical in like country homes and stuff like that. Even wood furnaces. Ours was electric. It was normal for an entire household to share a single phone number. Oh yeah, yeah, it was. That was it. We all used to fight for the phone, using the internet, waiting for friends to call, trying to plan going out, like trying to meet people. Hey, are you getting ready? Yeah. Like, and then you have to like walk or drive 15 to 20 minutes after you call them from your house phone. And yeah, it's so easy now. Like, you can just use your cell phone, park outside the house, and be like, "I'm here. Are you getting ready?" Like, it's so much easier. Drinking age was 18 back in my day, but you could walk into a bar at 16 and order a drink. Nobody really cared. Nobody really checked. People used to actually write letters. I had a video about this. I had a beautiful, beautiful video about this. Put a stamp on them and mail them to their friends and relatives. This is such a lost art. It is. Yeah, you would write postcards for everything, write letters, weekly, not daily. Some people are hardcore and they do it daily. But just like general catching up, or like if you went on a vacation, so on and so forth. Yeah, stamps back then, 18 to 20 cents. Now they're 68 cents. I wouldn't know how much they are. It's been a while. Well, what year was this out? I assume this is this year. Yeah. Recently, 10 days ago. Yeah, if you misbehaved in school, the teacher could and would dish out some corporal punishment. Now, I've never been unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of that, but Catholic schools, I heard they don't mess around. When you watch TV, you had to watch what was on, and if you wanted to watch something in particular, you had to wait for it to come on. That's right, and if you missed it, that's it, you missed it. You couldn't fast forward through commercials. You couldn't rewind. If you missed it, you missed it. That's it. You had to sit there. No skipping ads on YouTube. Like, literally, you'd sit there for like 5 minutes sometimes waiting for your favorite show to come back on. Or you'd be waiting days or weeks according to the TV guide whenever your show was supposed to come on or your movie. Phone numbers were memorized, yeah. You used to have a Rolodex, which is basically this giant flip card that's shaped like a circle, and it's cards, and you had to look through in alphabetical order to find the phone number that you're looking for. Or you had to write them down or keep it on a piece of paper. Before we had electronics, you literally had to keep if you couldn't remember it, you had to keep something physical on you. Some people in school used to write their boyfriends or girlfriends' phone numbers on their arm just so they could remember how to call them, or until they stored it in their head, or they'd write it in their book or their notebook, or something like that. Kids could leave home. People didn't bat an eye about it. My grandfather was 8 when he left home and he made his way in the world. He had no education and worked jobs for people. No, I'm not that old, but yeah, I heard it was really easy just to pick up, like side jobs or under the table jobs and just front through life. Houses in the same area had to share a telephone party line when you could listen in on everyone else's conversations. Never experienced that. That's crazy. That's really crazy. I remember that you couldn't know the sex of your kid until the baby was born. Oh yeah, no technology. That's right. There are ways to tell. There are a lot of like superstitions. Like people would be like, I think it was like, if the woman's stomach is heavy low, that's supposed to be a boy, and if it's like big high, then it's supposed to be a girl. I can't remember. I don't know. Don't remember. In the 50s, a milkman would come through our always unlocked back door and put the milk straight in our refrigerator. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's also the milkman joke too, which anyways, yeah, we didn't have a milkman. That was a fantastic service that passed before I was old, before I could experience it. Yeah. You must be the milkman's son. You must be the milkman's daughter. Look that up. Feel free. On the evening news, every night they would show the doomsday clock. It's an analog clock that, when it hits midnight, means we're in a nuclear war. Oh, never experienced it. It was usually very close to midnight, like 5 minutes before everything. Or imagine having the very real threat of nuclear war looming over your head every single day. If somebody knows about that, feel free to comment on that. There were telephones everywhere. Yes. Street shops, sidewalks, sidewalk corners. And you paid for calls with coins. Yeah. 25 cents? 10 cents? 50 cents? And it used to be like, I think like 25 cents for the first 3 minutes, and then I can't remember after that. I can't remember. But yeah, before you had like cell phones or anything like that, you'd have a payphone like pretty much everywhere, outside a business, inside a government building, at a school, at a park. Just chilling in the middle of a street. Well, not in the middle of the street, but on a sidewalk, under a lamppost or something. Cigarette machines were pretty much everywhere. I talked about this. Yeah, you literally could just pop in some money and you pull the knob, you twist it, and voila, instant tobacco. My adult children and all of their friends didn't believe me when I first told them that married women weren't allowed to have a credit card in their own name until 1974. Before that, women could only have a card through their husband. Now, there's a lot of reasons why people say that this was the case, but we'll get into that another day. Yeah, it wasn't common. I wasn't alive during that time, but I did hear that a lot of women, unfortunately, did not have access to credit during those times. So we will make that a topic of discussion in the future. For now, I'd like to spend some time taking a look at the anonymous telonyms that I've been receiving. I've been streaming for about a week, and I figured the telonyms would be a great way for us to interact with each other, and also for you to get an understanding of who I am as a person, where I come from, and but mainly when I'm gaming, I hope you, like me, are able to, just enjoy life and just enjoy gaming. I have friends that I don't necessarily agree with all of them. Definitely not all the time, even on core contentious points, but we always find something to bond together on, a shared cause or a shared activity, so on and so forth. My friends and I were very open-minded. We might think a certain way about politics or religion or economics or so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, we all are decent enough to get along. So for me, I'm very much so a professional. So you're going to get 100% me. But also at the same time, when it's time to play, when it's time to enjoy each other's company, I understand how to do that. And I hope the viewers out there, when we have a difference of opinion, or we have these just chatting sessions on Friday, and you start rolling around and deciding to put in your 2 cents, or to debate or counter my points, I hope that we can maintain that kind of level of rapport and still see each other, and spend time even though we disagree. Um, I'm not saying I thrive on it, but you can't you can't grow if your thoughts aren't challenged, right? Like you literally just continue moving in one direction. There's been a lot of things in my life that I've been very certain about, and then there have been things that my mind's been completely changed or shifted because somebody has provided essential data or fantastic arguments, right? And I think that's necessary, and that's lost in this world. I think a lot of times people mistake the idea for the person, right? Um, don't get me wrong, there are some egregiously evil and blatantly evil or terrible people out there, but generally I'm the kind of person that likes to focus on the idea and not the character and not the person. So like if you have an idea that I disagree with, we disagree. Doesn't mean I dislike you or think that you're any less of a person, not at all. Um, However, if you are definitely, unfortunately, in that super rare category, I mean, whether I say something or not, it's it's gonna be apparent, right? So, um, let's enjoy each other's company, and let's exchange ideas. You know, um, teach me and correct me, and the things that I definitely know about, I'll happily share my wisdom, knowledge, or research with you as well. So, that said, moving forward, let's take a look at these telonyms, okay? So I do have a linker, which is really, it's much easier for me to put everything in one place because of how I organize my social media. And people have asked me too, they're like, oh, this is such a mess. Like, this is a solution that I found. If you know a better solution, feel free to let me know. So it'll be linker.bio/thatartismo. And that's THATARTISMO. And if you take a look here, I got my Discord, my Throne wish list. This is my Telenym live Q&A, my Patreon. In the Patreon, I'll probably have some limited edition photographs or work or tutorials available there. I'll let you know in the future. I do have a creative apparel and goods store, which is hosted on Fourth Wall, and where this month I am due to release a new item based on one of my photographic works. But my plan is I want to release items and goods that are based off of photographs that I originally took in film and then I digitized. Why is this important? Well, recently I recovered a hard drive that had crashed on me, and I had painstakingly recovered that hard drive file by file, cluster by cluster. And it had a lot of my life's work on there, important photographs and graphic design work. And of the work that I could recover, I'm very satisfied with the work that I recovered. Of the work that I couldn't recover, it's a bit disheartening, but I did my best. And so that beautiful work I'd love to share with you guys. So if you're interested in seeing that, feel free to take a look there. You don't have to buy anything, just take a look at the latest artwork or photograph that I have up. So you can check out my multimedia rig and workstation, basically what I do, my live streaming on, gaming, so on and so forth. And then at the bottom, that's self-explanatory. But basically, let's take a look here at the telonyms, okay? Go ahead and pop this open. So a lot of you have been shooting me messages here and there, asking me questions, picking me. Sometimes I worry that some of you are bots or that it's AI bot driven. And some I realize are real because some of you, I believe, have English as not a first language, which is fine. It tells me that when I see grammatical mistakes and punctuation mistakes, I'm like, this person's human. I like that. That makes me happy. When I see like really perfect writing, that's prose, like the prose, the grammar, and the punctuation's fantastic. That's great. But then sometimes I wonder, I'm like, is this person real? Is this a real person? What is this? What's going on here? So, anyways, yeah. If you ever want to interact with me or ask me questions about myself, and if I feel comfortable answering, I'll answer. If there's something that you'd like to discuss, maybe it'll end up in a just chatting talk. All right, that's what we're doing here. So let's work our way through here. Let's go from top to bottom. Yes, I am married. Sometimes I don't wear my wedding ring. Like right now for just chatting, I am, because it doesn't get in the way. But like when you're gaming, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Okay, like, or when you're typing, or if I'm using my keyboard, my MIDI keyboard, it can sometimes get in the way. But yeah, generally when I go out, or if I'm not doing any multimedia creation, then I'm wearing my wedding ring. I don't sleep in it though. That's a little bit uncomfortable. Anyways, all right. Let's take a look here. Ah. Dating someone older. That's interesting. What do you guys think about dating somebody older and much older, whether it's man or woman, right? I think the majority of science agrees that the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain which involves impulse control and is often related with maturity, is fully developed by the age of 25. So I think that whether you're a man or woman, if you once you're age 25, you can date whoever you want, right? Like, I would say that by that age, you should have a pretty good understanding of yourself and life. I mean, not perfect, but I mean, much better than if you're younger, like say 18 years old and just finally like out of your parents' house and about to hit college. But probably the only things I would be watching for sometimes, if it was my best friend that was dating somebody much older, is signs of grooming or a choose, a boos. I have to be careful about the words that I use or choose. So yeah, essentially it. Do people ever get stuff wrong about you? All the time, all the time. Yeah, I'm convinced that when I die, my gravestone will bear the words, "I still don't understand this mother," with the asterisk included. Yeah, it's the way it is. Okay. If robots could no longer be distinguished from humans, should they get the same respect and rights, and why? I don't know. What do you guys think? Have any of you seen the British TV show Humans? It kind of touches on that, where like the androids have advanced artificial intelligence and sentience. Um, that's really tough. I would assume that these robots and these androids are built with serving humans in mind. If that's the case, then at what point do we call them independent? Hmm. I went ahead and wrote it out here. So if you are reading it, you know, I'm just mulling through for myself. Like, even though they have consciousness and sentience, right? Things that delineate living creatures, from and organic creatures from inorganic creatures is there's this concept of consciousness and sentience. But even then, like, that consciousness and sentience has to be input from a human. Hmm. I think consciousness and sentience alone wouldn't be sufficient um, to grant the robots or anthropomorphic anthroma ugh, anthro. I know how to say this word. Anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic creatures, which means of relating to humans or human-like form. Um, I think it's going to take more than consciousness and sentience if they are to get the same respect and rights. Um, and already our laws are primarily focused on biological human attributes. Um, it specifically focuses on man and woman. I mean, we would have to then reevaluate what constitutes a person or organic in nature, and I think shifting the laws to to accommodate that would take a really long time. Not to mention that getting technology up to that point would take a long time. I think right now we have the ability to grow some organs in human flesh from stem cells, right? Um, oh, I don't know if we have the ability to keep it alive on something inorganic, right? If we did, that would be very creepy and reminiscent of the Terminator. Social implications. I mean, yeah, how would we even in the workforce and socializing with them and then allocating them resources? Like, how do we even go about doing that and what would be fair? And then how could we advocate for them and how would they advocate for themselves? Hmm. Are they machines in service of people? And if so, at what point do they become independent? Right? Like because typically all these robots and AI was made in the creation were created in the service of people for the purpose of serving human needs and human innovation. So we'd have to draw a line there somewhere. And then criminal justice and punishment. So like then how would we punish robots if they are considered deserving of the same rights of people? Like would incarcerating them be sensible? Like I would imagine that they would reach a point where they would have the technology and the ability to survive longer than human beings or even endure pain better, right? I mean, what kind of punishments would be appropriate for a misbehaving robot? Essentially, when a robot or any machine malfunctions, you reprogram it or you dispose of it, right? If it's completely malfunctioning and beyond saving or repair, typically you dispose of it. But it's not that much different than what we do with people now, right? Like with the death penalty, right? So could you imagine just reprogramming something that didn't behave according to what you expected? And what if they could just simply do it all over again? Just override that programming. I mean, if they're able to do it once, what's stopping them from doing it again? Um, I think that even if we reach the point in technology where we had robots with sentience and living flesh, it's going to be a really long time for people to accept that these new anthropomorphic creatures have any rights or any semblance or resemblance to being a human. Um, but it's really interesting to think about what kind of world we would live in and how it would completely change how we operate. If you haven't checked out that TV show, the British TV show Humans, you should. If you're into sci-fi and concepts like this, it definitely touches on a lot of the points that we talked about here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and sneak on real quick. One more. All right. This is a good one. What is more important, family or relationship? Now, this person might have meant relationship like boyfriend and girlfriend versus your blood family, but let's put it this way. Look at it philosophically, right? What is the meaning of a family if you remove the relationship aspect, right? It's like husband or wife, right? Like, what is the meaning of husband or wife if you remove the things that qualify or give meaning to the title or the word of husband and wife, right? Or brother or father, sister, mother, right? Daughter, son. The relationship is at the very core, of this word. It's what defines family. Relationship is, in fact, what defines many relationship titles or words, right? Like across almost like all cultures and like all times, right? The root core of it has been like relationship. The quality and the kind of a relationship is what defines that word, right? I think that there are people that exist out there that have expressed and that I know have had better relationships with friends than they have had with like their family. And some would even call their friends, you know, more meaningful or closer to them than their actual family. And that exemplifies my point perfectly there. Whatever kind of family construction you have, polyamorous, mother or father not around due to whatever reason, whether it's death or something else. What matters is your relationship and the quality of your relationship and the health. There was another question later on that talked about being single, and I touched on why it's dangerous to always want to have a relationship. I think that first and foremost, you must have a good relationship with yourself, because if you don't respect yourself and love yourself, it shows in how you behave and you act, and it makes it very difficult for a lot of people to love and respect you. Now, there are some very healthy and wonderful people out there that are forgiving to those who are not fortunate enough to have that kind of relationship with themselves, right? Like to have that kind of self-confidence and positive self-talk that keeps you healthy and of sound mind. But in my experience and from what I've seen is when you're not taking care of yourself and listening to your internal compass and giving yourself the self-care that you need, it's very hard to one, definitely take care of yourself, and two, to actually have a good relationship with other people. It's kind of self-sabotaging. So tying those two things together, yeah, relationship is very important no matter what. The relationship you have with yourself and the relationship that you have with others. So anyways, if you catch this in a VOD later on, leave a like or feel free to subscribe. It's always definitely helpful for me. If there's anything that you disagree with or anything that you'd like me to touch on, feel free to leave a comment down below. And feel free to join me in chat once again next week, Friday, JST, 10 p.m. I think UTC should be 1 o'clock. So Japan, 10 o'clock. Feel free to join me. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I also have a Discord that you can join. Feel free to pop in there and check out some fantastic memes if you like Star Wars, or to also jump in on some hot topics and debate that I don't always talk about on stream or in a video. So definitely thank you all very much for stopping by, and we'll catch you again next time. Be good to yourselves. Thank you much, and goodbye.